Because the beauty of law is you can, come back to it any time. But entrepreneurship, that wave, if it's gone, it's gone.
All right, so welcome to the You Are Lawyer podcast, Lamia Rahman. So I am so excited to chat with you again. We chatted before because you met my cousin Cody. So Lamia, you're a lawyer. You live in Hong Kong, and I typically keep things pretty evergreen. But it's 6 in the morning here in the States, in Ohio, where I am. Is it 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. in Hong Kong?
It's 6 p.m.
Okay, 6 p.m. in Hong Kong. So super international, doing all the things to share the great stories. But Lamia, would you tell us all about what you're doing and why you're on the show today?
Yep. So I'm Lamia, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of VG Lab SEEKR. And this is a company that I founded 4 years ago in Hong Kong. And what we do is we make compact AI wearables called SEEKR for people who are elderly or visually impaired to sort of curate their environment into audio cues so that they're able to make decisions for themselves.
So, what is wearable technology? What is that?
So actually, I have it here in my hand. So this is the secret device over here, and essentially, what this is all about is to help people make decisions. So it's not making decisions for you; it's helping you make decisions. So what do I mean by this? So in our everyday life, we have our sight, and we're getting a lot of visual information. Now, this is not accessible for someone who is an elderly person with weakening visual, or someone who is a visually impaired person who we call VIP. So I'm just going to use VIP throughout the show now. What we're trying to do is give them that visual information into audio output, and then they make decisions. So let me give you some examples about that, right? So let's say when you go to the supermarket, now you can see the brands, you can see the nutritional value, but someone who is visually impaired might have difficulty doing that. So now with the SEEKR device, this built-in camera, it's able to tell you what, not just the brand but the nutritional value of what you're buying, and then you can make that decision whether you want to purchase that product or not. So this is one example. And another thing would be, let's say, museums. If you're someone who's an art lover and wants to go to the museum, it's such a visual experience. But whereas now with the SEEKR technology, a visually impaired person can go to the museum and experience art the same way we do. So that's just a couple of examples. Yeah.
Okay. So, how did a lawyer create this? Like, did you
Yeah.
have a medical background? Or did you used to be a doctor? Like, what's the detail?
Yeah, no, I did not get the doctor's degree. That's like additional, what, 6 years? I did study law at a later stage of my life. So I did the Juris Doctor degree and the qualifying exam known as the PCLL in Hong Kong. And to be honest, I studied law at such an unconventional time. It was peak COVID, Hong Kong was on lockdown, and so I didn't necessarily get to study a lot with my peers and socialize and have those experiences that you do in law school typically. So during peak of COVID, I found myself having so much time on my hands because I was only having online classes. The way this idea came to me is because I was one of those on the ground task force, like responsible for distributing care packages in places that are like socioeconomically poor. So as I was kind of doing, my groundwork during COVID and distributing care packages, I serviced a building in particular that had a lot of visually impaired people. So over there, I actually met a granny who was very kind enough to, just share about her life. The first thing I saw when I met her was that she had a guide dog and she had a cane. So this is typically the tools that VIPs use in all around the world. It's not just in Hong Kong, but all around the world. And one thing she said that caught my imagination was, she said, had you not brought me this care package, I don't know how I would go to the supermarket and like I would buy food for myself. And that really surprised me. And then of course I realized that she didn't use any AI tools. Again, this is pre-chat GPT era when I was having this conversation with her. And finally, I kind of sat down with her and I asked her, like, Now you have to rely on people like, let's say, your daughter, son, your domestic helper. So what would you want so that you can make that decision yourself? So she started, like, drawing an image for me, and now I started visualizing that, okay, this is what the Seeker device would do, and this is what it looked like. But again, I don't have the technical background. So I was hanging out with a lot of entrepreneurs. They have like socials that time, which was also like kind of illegal in the sense that, again, we are in lockdown, so we are restricted to 4 people at a time. So I started talking to people, meeting them online, and that's how I met my co-founder, who was trying to build something for his grandfather. So we put our heads together. In 2021, we were a team of two. Now we're a team of 11, serving not just Hong Kong, but all around the world, people who need a device like Seeker.
Yeah. What's really jumping out at me is the fact that you were a problem solver,
Mm.
regardless of what the problem is, right? You heard about this and you were like, okay, but I bet I could probably help. And then I also love that this all came out of you being empathetic, right? A lot of people, at least here in the States, they're always like, lawyers are sharks, lawyers just want to get you. And you were like, how can I help this sweet lady as I'm delivering meals during COVID? That's pretty cool.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Kyla.
So, what's it like running a business? Like, did you always want to run a business, or is this new to you?
Actually, I've never necessarily run a business. Like I said, my background prior to law was I was an art student who like double majored in criminology, American law, and literature. So I think I was always somehow interested in law, and then I did it. But I think what was very critical for me is I had to make a decision. And this was around when Seeker turned 2, and I had an option of doing a training contract versus jumping into Seeker. So these are my thoughts, which is the wave of entrepreneurship is sometimes really, really random. It's that one opportunity that gets you started, gets you lifts you off from the boat, and you have to go and you have to do it. So that kind of situation happened to me. So what happened roughly 2 years ago was when the secret device did not look as good as it is now. I all of a sudden overnight amassed a lot of orders. And so me and my co-founder, we had a serious chat. He's like, I know you've got a training contract, but we need a full-time COO. Operations are like literally on fire. I need a proper team, and we cannot half-ass this. Yeah, excuse my language, but yeah. So then I said, you're right. And I made that decision, which a lot of people still question till this day, that I'm going to do this on a full-time basis. Because the beauty of law is you can, come back to it any time. But entrepreneurship, that wave, if it's gone, it's gone. So that's why I made that decision to do Seeker on a full-time basis. And this is where we are now. We're opening up an office in California, and things have been upwards and onwards from there. Now, would I ever want to go back to law? Like, I didn't necessarily like experience it on the scale that people do, because some of these entrepreneurs, they've been practicing lawyers for like what, 5, 10, 15 years, and then they do entrepreneurship. But something of reverse happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah. You said that you'll miss that wave of entrepreneurship, right? It's like a small window. But I think
Yeah.
even bigger than that, someone else would get your idea and then they would do it, right? I think that ideas travel.
Absolutely. But you know what, Kyla? So I think ideas are not new anymore. And the reason I say this is because just with the rapid advancement of technology, I think the winner or the startup that wins is if they're able to offer that service at a cheaper, leaner, and faster way. So that was our motivation, which is we wanted to be first in the market with the what we wanted to do. I guess what we are doing differently is the form factor, the hardware, because people now tend to do with glasses and stuff like that. But when we started Seeker, we had one question, which is there is technology that's being built. Why are people not using it? So,
Yeah. Why aren't they using it? So tell me a little bit more about Seeker. I have the device, which I've used before, right? So I have this YouTube channel, and then we have like a DJI with a gimbal on it that like balances and you can walk around. Is there an earpiece? Is there a headset? Because if my vision is impaired, it's not showing me the text. So how does it work?
right. So the way the Seeker device works is you have the device, and you can actually clip it on to your clothes or however you want to use it. Some people actually use point and shoot, so they just take it out to whatever they want. So this essentially is a camera with 180 degree. So it's able to see wide angle. And the way the device works is there's a button in the middle that helps you take a photo or a video. And then on the side, there is tactile buttons that helps you go around the features. So at the moment, the Seeker device has 4 features, and we do have more in the pipeline. And the way to change the modes are through the side tactile buttons. So if you are using Seeker and you don't want people to hear the output, you can pair it up with your earphones and then go about your day. I know that this podcast is a limited podcast, and I would love to share more. So I will definitely also send you a video if this is something of interest that you want to put in the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so you're a lawyer, you're still in school, you get this idea, you decide to pursue it. I think you'll always have time to go back to the law if you want to. For all you know, you decide to do the legal operations side, right? There's always something else you can do.
Yeah.
But do you find that your legal education helps you as an entrepreneur? Do you look at things in a different way?
So when I got the idea of Seeker, my father actually said something to me which was so funny. He said, lawyers are not great business people because they think of risks before they jump into an opportunity. But in business, it's all about that one risk that worked for you, or you were able to. It was so funny because I caught myself in situations where I thought about the worst even before it actually happened. So when there's an opportunity, then I'm already thinking about 100 ways this could go wrong, and how are we going to save ourselves, rather than, okay, if this one thing goes right, what's going to happen. But with that being said, Kyla, I think my law degree has also made me better for it, where I'm taking calculated risks. I'm not taking unnecessary, unreasonable risks just because I want to make the startup or my company work. So I'm taking calculated risks. I understand a lot of the regulatory things that a lot of my other peers don't. So I feel like that's my added advantage. And of course, I still handle everything legal for the company. So it's good that although we have our lawyers who are, working on the engagement side of things, there's one person in the company who knows, okay, what's going on? What are these lawyers talking about? What do we need to do to deviate from risks and liability? So that's the added advantage that I have. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I feel like our law degrees show up everywhere, right? I
Yes.
worked in a big law firm for about 5 years, but I was on the operations side. And so even when it came to hiring and writing like job descriptions and all of that, our brain knows how to figure that part out. But you've grabbed the piece that I'm trying to teach lawyers, which is no, we know how to mitigate the risk. So still take the risk. Just appreciate that you can mitigate it, right? Like,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, okay.
Yes.
Okay. So, how do you get people to decide to wear Seeker? Like, are there elderly people who are like, I don't want to admit that my vision's going bad? Or are you making it a cool thing? Like, how do you kind of help with adoption?
So one thing that we've prioritized at Seeker is we're not going to make something that looks like a bulky looking medical device. Seeker is actually designed like a GoPro, and there's so many influencers these days. It's very normal to see someone, talking to their GoPro and recording their day-to-day life. So in that terms, adoption was, I would say, easier because it's not a bulky looking medical device. The second thing that we did that was different is when we launched the Seeker device, we started immediately doing public education. So what that means is we made it so easy, like it's one button, 2 buttons on the side, you don't got to do anything. We made it so easy so that anybody who doesn't have the dexterity to use their phones or dexterity to use other sorts of devices can at the very least just, use this button and get on with their day. So these are the 2 things we did for adoption.
Okay. And then I'm such a practical person, and also I see in pictures. So my eyesight's going out. I want to go to the grocery store.
Hmm.
I just clip it on and I'm ready to go. Does it help me walk down the street? Does it help, you know what I mean? Like, does it help me find the grocery store? What?
Well, at the moment, no. We have not added navigation as part of the Seeker technology. And the reason being is Google Maps and all of these other tools are already doing that. But what these additional technologies are not going to do is give you the minute details of what you need to make your decision. And in addition, to not give you so much information that you have information overload. So let me give you an example. We have a continuous mode at Seeker, but before we were like, it has to be continuous mode all the time, right? They don't know where they're going and stuff like that. And we tried it on with one of our beta users in our early days, and we were trying out the device at a very crowded street. It kept saying, one person at your left, one person at your right, one person 3 meters away from you, and it kept saying that. It was very information overload in terms of your senses. So now what we are doing different is we give you that option. Not everywhere would you need continuous mode. Since you're a visual person, let me give a little bit more details. The way that this device is going to work is just have it with you, right? It's got a portable C charger. It runs for 4 to 5 hours continuously. You can hook it in the charger. When you press the button once to turn it on, and then when you want to take a picture or take a video, you press it again, and then it captures the thing, and then there's an audio output of what is in front of you. So at the moment, there are four functions. One is supermarket mode to enable you to go to anywhere, wet market, retail stores, whichever. Second is text mode, reading off of menus and even handwritten. Not a lot of OCR can do handwritten recognition. Second is depth mode. Let's say you've dropped something on the ground. It will tell you using the clock system at what o'clock and how far the particular object is. And finally, scene mode. Scene mode is actually one of our most popular functionalities. So let's say you are invited to an event and you don't know what's going on. You use the scene mode. It will describe the scene to you. It'll help you go to your nearest chair, table. You make the decision where you want to be in that event. So these are the four functionalities. I do want to get you a little bit more excited about upcoming functionalities. So I actually want to ask you a question, Kyla. Do you know how visually impaired people get on the bus, or how do they
No,
know that their bus? Okay.
no, maybe the handrail, but no.
Yeah, so actually, I've seen this in America as well. Visually impaired people, they actually hold a placard with their bus number, and they're literally pushed onto the bus and then pushed off the bus. So they usually tell the driver that that's where they want to be, and then so it's a very uncomfortable experience, because just imagine closing your eyes for 1 second and somebody is trying to help you, but they pull you somewhere else. It's a very uncomfortable and scary experience, right? So we actually have an upcoming bus mode coming up that will, just with the device, it will tell you your bus is arriving. It'll help you get on. It'll help you navigate the empty seat and then help you get off. So these are some human elements that we are trying to add to the device and add to the experience of our users.
Yeah, I think that bus mode is really, really cool. And I also think that the scene mode is really nice, right? You walk into a
Yeah.
party and it's like five people over there, here's a couch over here, right? Like, I think it's really nice that it's using your other senses to enhance the one that might be weakening. That's pretty
Yes.
cool. Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. So this has been like a whole education for you. And so, like,
Hmm,
senses
for
and
sure.
depth perception and all of it. Are you enjoying it? Are you having fun?
I really, really am. And the reason I say I am is, at the end of the day, when I've worked 12 hours or so, I feel very rewarded. And every now and then, I will have a user email me or tell me that they're using it on a daily basis and it's done something for them. And I can share a little bit more example. I had a client who bought the device for their daughter, and now their daughter is using the device to go to school. And that's a very rewarding experience, because now that one tool, the SEEKR device, is able to get them access to the information of the books, of the blackboards, or whatever the schools are using. Even just the other day, somebody had messaged me and thanked me and my entire tech team that they were able to go hiking. It was not something that we intended, but again, very, very cool outcome. So these things are very, very rewarding for me. Also, another thing is, now I'm kind of my own boss. I feel like every decision that I make has a repercussion. Who to hire, who to fire, how are we going to do our tech developments, how is our business going to progress. So all of these information has made me better for it and more capable in my capabilities, that I'm able to lead a team that I think would have come much later to me in a law firm, I believe. Because of course in law firm, there's a hierarchy, and then you follow the seniority and structure. But for SEEKR, at the get-go, it was like hands-on experience. Of course, now as the team gets bigger, my job has become more managerial, but I got my hands dirty in the first couple of years. I met the clients, I sat down with my engineers to understand how they're building the SEEKR technology. So I think that's the difference that I'm enjoying a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard someone say the other day being an entrepreneur is like being a chief gap filler. Whatever the
Yeah.
gap is at the time, that's
Yeah.
what you're doing until you figure out what you actually want to do. So, yeah.
Right.
So, tell me a little bit more about this office in California. Are you moving to California or is it going to be operations or what?
So I think for our office in California, we are trying to set up a sales team over there. So the reason being is that over the past year or so, me and my co-founder, we've been coming to LA mostly, setting up potential client visits and everything. So we do believe that that's an avenue to take our company next in. And for Hong Kong, everything we've built has been in Hong Kong. So hardware, software, most of the team members, because we do have remote workers. So the idea is we hope that we gradually expand not just within Asia but also the US. And of course, now with the regulatory demands, we do feel like we don't want to miss out on serving the US market. So that's why we are making that strategic move.
Yeah. Okay. Well, definitely let me know when you're here. California is not close, but it's closer.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so I have a couple more questions for you. The first one is I don't know too many people who are visually impaired. Is this a
Mm.
big market? Is this a big concern?
Oh, can I return the question to you? Do you know how many visually impaired person there are in the world?
I don't. And you know what? Even as I asked you that, I took off my glasses before we got on the call. So actually, I think and they're not reading glasses. I do need them for like day to day. So actually, I
Oh,
guess.
okay.
But yeah, no, I do not know.
Do you want to take a guess?
Okay, let's see. Are there 8 billion people in the world?
Yeah, 8
Ish?
billion.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, there are 300 million visually impaired people. So there's actually a lot of my friends tell me that I don't see them often. But let's say I've delivered a talk or something, they're like, oh yeah, I'm beginning to realize or start to see. The thing is, there are 300 million visually impaired people. Now, in Hong Kong, there's only 200,000. So that's the almost the perfect number to set up your test bed on these group of people, different demographic. Visual impairment actually happens for multiple reasons, like age degenerative eye disease. A lot of people they don't know this. Diabetes is also a leading cause to be visually impaired because there's a gene called diabetic retinopathy that can happen to certain people. Almost 50% of the diabetic population have diabetic retinopathy, but they don't know that. So these are the two common reasons. The country that has the most visually impaired people is actually China, just in terms of the numbers. When it comes to visual impairment, sometimes you're born with it, but sometimes it happens at a much later stage of your life, like when you're considered an elderly person. And when you're an elderly person, you don't want to learn a new language, like let's say Braille. Braille is learning a new language. You just want to get your day over with the most simple tools as possible. That's where canes and guide dogs are just traditionally used for so many years. So now with the generation, becoming more tech savvy and a lot of investment in Geron technology, so technology made for the elderly people. Now you see so many of these inventions coming in, like for example, if you fall down, fall off your bed, to press the emergency button and things like that. So these are all amazing things that have happened over the span of the last 5 to 10 years. So we hope that SEEKR would be that technology that is at the forefront of accessibility in age tech. And actually, one of the reasons I was also in Las Vegas in particular was there's the CES convention, the Consumer Electronics Show that happened in January, where we were awarded the Innovation Award for age tech and accessibility. That honestly goes again to show our commitment to this field and to this group of people. Do you know by what percentage this number is going to increase?
The number
Let's
of
say,
visually impaired people
yeah, let's say in the next 40 years,
times 2.
this number is going to triple.
Oh,
The
wow.
number is going to triple in the next 40 years. And this is a statistics by the World Health Organization. Again, I mean, I hope not, but let's say sometimes I feel like I'm making this device for myself. And the reason I say this is because my father has been diabetic for 30 years. It's a gene he has. And my worry is that if I were to get to that age and I have that issue, is there something for me that I can use? So in a way, yes, I'm building it for the people. I'm also building it for the future generation because this number is going to increase for whatever reason. And how well are we prepared for it?
Yeah. I think this is so cool. I think the fact that you're creating it for future generations, which I'm thinking about, I have a 4-year-old and I'm thinking about how she uses screens and can use my phone. I didn't even get a phone until I was in high school. So I can imagine as they get older, they're going to want cool tech, right? They're going to want fun things that can help them. Okay. And I think age tech is a really nice kind of title for all of
Yeah,
this.
yeah,
It's appropriate. It's not demeaning. It's age tech. Okay, cool.
yeah.
So AI comes in place where it is capturing everything on the screen and then it's putting it into the words or transcribing it for the user.
So the AI comes in with the recognition. If you're someone who's, logged on to this podcast, I highly recommend you go to the App Store, download seeker.ai, so SEEKR.ai, and play around with it. It's got an accuracy of about 95%. So any particular functionality you use, it's got a certain percentage of accuracy. And what you will realize is how much effort we put into curating information that is most relevant and important in making the decision for the visually impaired people. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just thinking, I mean, we use our eyes every day and even if you don't think about all the stuff you're capturing, but I'm like, I know that that's there. I know that that's there. And the fact that there's devices that can do that for another person, I think
Right.
that's so impactful. Okay. Oh, Lamia, this is so good. I have just one last question for you.
Yes.
So you were hesitant to have this call because you were like, "Am I a lawyer? I'm not a lawyer." And I was
Mm.
like, "You studied
Mm.
the law, you
Yes.
graduate, you're a lawyer, right?" But what would
Yes.
you say to anyone that's in law school or a young lawyer about what they could do with their law degree?
One thing I would like to say is keep your options open. And why I say this is because, yes, you may have studied the law, but it doesn't always mean that you're limited to only becoming a lawyer. And I know this is the perception of law school. And I think it's because just in law school, the way the institution is formed, they are training you to become a lawyer, right? So actually, I thought this podcast was a very interesting name. You are a lawyer, exclamation mark. But we're talking about everything else but the law. And when I heard it, and I was like, this is fantastic because I even personally know many lawyers who are not practicing law, but are doing such wonderful and amazing and cool things in their everyday life. When I was in law school, I had the same perception that I was going to become a lawyer, I'm going to practice and, hopefully make it to partner one day. uh, but like I said, I made this choice because of such an unconventional time that we were living in, and just the problem that I identified. What again, also an accidental entrepreneur because this was like my passion project that I wanted to build for this granny that I met, and all of a sudden I got orders overnight, and this was a solid business. So keep your options open, keep your mind open, and meet more people, like not just within the field of law, meet more people. And I think that's the way to go in anything in your life.
Yeah, I think that's so fitting for even the story you just told, right? You kept your options open. That's why you were helping out and delivering meals. And then
Yes.
the opportunity came and you jumped at it. So
Yes.
you're literally living that out. So I think that's really cool.
Thank you so much, Kyla.
Yeah. All right. So as we're closing out, Lamia, if you will show your screen.
All right, so by way of showing that this is the secret device, and this product was made not just with the visually impaired people who we call VIPs, but also for them. And you can see people in Hong Kong using the secret device on an everyday basis to understand scenarios, locate objects, identify products, and also read texts. So this is a quick demo video. demo video. Like I've shared with the listeners to this podcast, that the journey of the SEEKR device is to take a photo, it processes the image, and then it gives an image description. And just finally, one last thing that I wanted to show was, we do have a lot of users of the SEEKR device. So this is just our photo in LA with me and my co-founder when we won the AgeTech and Accessibility Award at the CES event. So this is a testimonial of people using the SEEKR device in their daily life.
呢個 app 過後咧，我覺得佢最實用嘅地方就係可以辨識到環境啦。咁個 Apps 嘅 AI 啦，亦都分析得好快啦，同埋亦都個準確度都好高，因為有相應其他嘅 Apps 啦，其實佢哋運算嘅時間都比較耐啦，同埋有時都會好唔準咁樣。
我覺得呢個咧最有用係辨識物件嗰個功能啦，因為好多 app 咧都淨係會辨識物字啊，咁我就好難知道到底附近有啲乜嘢啦。佢連有幾多張凳啊，幾多個人，佢都會鎖埋俾我啦，咁我就會更加知道我身處嗰個環境到底係有幾特別。我覺得其實佢部機咧係 load 得快過個 app 嘅，如果係個文件。咁我覺得呢一個 app 對我最有用嘅 function 就係 object detection。scene detection， 因為我係中意買嘢咁有時有啲嘢想睇翻佢買咗翻嚟係邊一樣嘢，咁我就可以用 object 嗰個 function 睇啦。咁而有時去到一個新環境嘅時候，就可以用 scene 嗰個 function 去大概知道附近啲咩。
Yeah, that's mostly all that I wanted to share. Yeah.
So I'm watching this and I'm thinking, there's a blind guy. I mean, he was visually impaired, and I think now he's like 95% blind. And he wrote a children's book, and he and his husband have TikTok videos. And I'm like, you should send him a device and ask him to use it.
Oh yeah, yes, I do know who you're referring to. Yeah, we at the we at the office are one of his I would say biggest fans, because we do see the videos that he puts out to do public education of the people that are living with visual impairment. So yeah. I would love to.
Well, next time I see it, because we were buying his book about the penguins, and I love his videos. They're so funny, and I was like, oh. Yeah, I guess, I am going to start noticing it a lot more now. I'm going to be like, oh, that, or that, or that, or oh, I never noticed that. So very cool. Thank you so much, Lamia. I think this was really good. And would you let me know, how can the audience help you? What do you need right now?
What we really need right now is the support from the people. And by that, I mean two things. One is, if you are interested to support the SEEKR cause, you can definitely purchase the SEEKR device. You can join our waitlist by joining or visiting our website. And the second thing is, we are at the moment seeking partnerships from different groups of organizations or institutions. So what that means is, if you're someone who is in an institution, whether it's an NGO, corporate, or institution like schools or university, then you can also be a part of our trial partner. And essentially what we will do is, if they are comfortable, you can share with us what space you're trying to make accessible, and we will give you the SEEKR device and train the SEEKR device to just do that. So these are the two ways to help us.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will make sure we put all that information in the episode notes so that people can reach out, and then definitely we'll be on the lookout. I'm excited to see SEEKR everywhere, right? And even you mentioned about being the first, because I'm sure someone is going to create something similar, or there'll be all these other iterations, but knowing that you had that impact and even pushing the whole market forward of AgeTech is really cool. And that it's a lawyer.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kyla. It means a lot. Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Lamia. Thanks for spending your evening with me. And I will talk to you later. Bye.
Thank you.